if you have 100 gigawatts of power and 100 million mining rigs, you might just slow it down, but it would take you 10 years to slow it down. So what Satoshi created is the world's most secure database, accessible via the world's most secure network. And we're living in a world where everybody wants security. You want to call it financial security, national security, cyber security, social security. If you want security, you need to find the most secure network or the most secure resource on Earth. And it's not gold anymore, and it's not land anymore, and it's not anything that can be created by any human being anymore. It has to be something that is transcending all of those human institutions and all human motivations. In essence, it needs to be a network that runs without human intervention, and that is what Satoshi created when Satoshi created Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, BTC, continued to hold below $27,000 as U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said stress in the banking sector might allow the central bank to ease back on rate hikes as it looks to curb hot inflation. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, Michael Saylor in the Bitcoin 2023 event shares his belief on Bitcoin and how it will drive the future of our world.
So in short, although there are people that can focus on negatives, there's the meltdown of Terra, the meltdown of Luna, the meltdown of Celsius, the meltdown of BlockFi, the failure of Alameda, the failure of FTX, the failure of all the crypto tokens, right? The meltdown and failures of the DeFi exchanges, the meltdown of some crypto exchanges, right? And the skepticism that people are taking with regard to crypto tokens that are stable coins. All of those things, which could be viewed in a negative light, are actually positive for Bitcoin because they're all accelerating the conclusion of the mainstream investor that Bitcoin is special and ethically sound, technically sound, and economically sound. And it's accelerating the understanding of the technology community that Bitcoin is the world's most secure database and the world's most secure network, and maybe in that way the most promising crypto network in the world. And it was a very expensive marketing campaign to convince people in Congress and the Senate, the regulators, and the media that Bitcoin is the world's #1 crypto network, but Bitcoin is also the world's most promising new asset class. But if anything today, if you look at all the utterances of the lawyers, all of the talk on Capitol Hill, if you look at all the regulatory publications, if you look at the mainstream media coverage, what's pretty clear is that the consensus today is Bitcoin is an asset, Bitcoin is special, Bitcoin is a commodity, Bitcoin is without an issuer, Bitcoin is here to stay. Bitcoin is the future.
The largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization was recently trading at around $26,800, up roughly 0.3% in the past 24 hours, according to CoinDesk data. BTC's price rose to nearly $27,200 late Friday morning as Powell, appearing with former Fed Chair Ben Bernanke at the Thomas Laubach Research Conference, said credit stress could mean interest rates would not have to go as high as previously thought. The financial stability tools help to calm conditions in the banking sector, said Powell. Developments there, on the other hand, are contributing to tighter credit conditions and are likely to weigh on economic growth, hiring, and inflation, he continued. As a result, our policy rate may not need to rise as much as it would have otherwise to achieve our goals.
While the financial stability tools help to calm conditions in the banking sector, developments there, on the other hand, are contributing to tighter credit conditions and are likely to weigh on economic growth, hiring, and inflation. So as a result, our policy rate may not need to rise as much as it would have otherwise to achieve our goals. Of course, the extent of that is highly uncertain.
Powell said the assessment of the upcoming interest rate decision will be an ongoing one, as he previously highlighted in the press conference following May's Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, meeting. Having come this far, we can afford to look at the data and the evolving outlook and make careful assessments, he said.
So I think of it as everybody's got a left arm and a right arm, and when your balance sheet is weighed down with cash or sovereign debt, it's like putting your right arm behind your back and you're just fighting with your left arm, and it's really, really hard. And so and then when the Federal Reserve raises the monetary inflation rate from 5% to 15%, every company fighting with the one hand has got to grow 25%, and they're trying hard and they're reaching beyond their fingertips, and when they fail, they crash and burn. And it might be even worse. They might actually say, the $500 million is a liability, so I'm going to give it all back to the shareholders. I'm going to borrow $1 billion. I'll go to negative working capital. And then not only are they fighting with one hand behind their back, but they have a $2 billion weight around their neck. And that's why all these indebted companies fail in an inflationary environment. So when we discovered Bitcoin, we said, well, we're not going to leave the right arm behind our back. We're going to turn the $500 million of liability into $500 million of an asset. The long story short is we went from $500 million of a liability yielding nothing to today we have 140,000 Bitcoin, which is $4 billion plus. So we were able to convert our balance sheet from a nothing or a liability into an asset. You know, today, if with 140,000 Bitcoin, when Bitcoin moves $1,000, we have $140 million of investment appreciation, which is equivalent to 3 years of after-tax cash flow of 2,000 people working as hard as they can. And so we have managed to fix the business with Bitcoin.
The CME FedWatch tool showed that 82% of traders expect the U.S. central bank will pause rate hikes in its next policy meeting in mid-June, and many expect a rate cut to take place later this year. The Fed chair appears content with signaling patience with regards to future tightening. Edward Moya, senior market analyst at foreign exchange market maker Oanda, wrote in a Friday note, Bitcoin held on to its gains as debt limit struggles abruptly ended and as Fed Chair Powell signaled openness to pause the Fed's tightening campaign. So, what are your thoughts? Is it a good time to buy Bitcoin? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.